Kick y'all out. Bring you back. Make sure we don't. Welcome back.
Get your man.
To Calais Campbell. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today on the Ravens Roundup, we got our normal cast of characters. We fully strapped. We looking all for Supermax deals. So hey, let's get started. We got a lot to talk about today. No need for the formalities because y'all know what it is. Let's dive right in and bring our guests in. We'll start off with the man that we hadn't seen in a minute. He's been on I think he called it a streaming sabbatical, so to speak. What up, Mike?
What up, Coach? Are we live?
Yeah. I'm doing something a little different. We live.
Oh, okay. All right. No questions.
Yeah. I'm trying to finagle some stuff. I think Jose might have idea what's going on.
Okay.
I do.
Jose,
what's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Coach?
What's good? I'm glad to see y'all this week. Eventful week. A lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get started. Next up, Chris. What's good, Chris?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hope everybody's enjoying the off season.
That's us. That's us right now. And last but not least, the man of the hour, Hendo. What's good, Hendo?
What's going on?
You look confused. What's wrong?
You said the man of the hour.
Yeah.
I ain't do nothing.
You the man of the hour. You 1,500.
No, I'm not.
You ain't get it yet.
Nah, I think I'm like 5 off.
All right, so look.
We need 5 people.
If you have not subscribed to Ravens Online Ungatekeepers, which is pinned in the description, please, we need at least 5 to get him to 1,500. He need to be at 1,500 by the time this stream ends. So that's my charge to you for the rest of the stream. If you have not subscribed to Hendo, please click the description. All you gotta do is click it, subscribe, and come right back. Takes 5 seconds.
I feel like we shouldn't even start the show until it happens.
Hey, pull your numbers up, Hendo, in the background. Let's see.
Huh?
Pull your numbers up in the back, or however you can do it, so you'll know when you're up to 1,500. That's pretty good, B. That's why I mess with you. We here. But since we waiting on that, Brandon's in the chat box, and Brandon got his gift from the channel, and he got this nice mug right here. Focus.
Yes.
Purple Kool-Aid.
Okay.
So if you want to get one of these nice mugs also, you have to join the Patreon and be at the gunslinger level. So there are 2 people on this panel that got a glass coming, and I'll take care of that once the show's over with, because they are gunslinger members, and that's Jose and B. LBHT. They gunslinger members.
Hold on.
I thought I was a gunslinger member.
Let me do that right now.
Don't call mine a mug though. We call that a chalice.
Oh, chalice.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't even drink. But when I saw that, I was like, I want one of those.
It don't have to have purple Kool-Aid. It can be real purple Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Purple Kool-Aid can be whatever you desire it to be. It don't have to be what I'm drinking. It could be soda. It could be Henny. What you call it? What you call Henny, Hendo?
Bull penny water.
More than any water.
It could be Crown. It could be Gatorade. It's whatever you desire it to be. As long as it's in this cup, that's what it needs to be. So everybody, when the season roll around, and we do them live streams on Sundays, you better have your cup.
That's
my challenge to you.
1.5 there.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Yes, we are at 1,500.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Salute.
There we go.
Salute. So now we
Chris,
get this thing rolling.
Chris was protesting. He said, "I'm not even going to be on screen until Hendo hits 1,500." Now he's back. There he is.
That's what you call support.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
I know Coach not drinking that purple Kool-Aid. Yes, Frito, I am. Watch this.
There you go.
You got to pick.
Again, we got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and get started. And at one point I want to do a show where we don't mention this guy's name, but today ain't that day. Today is not that day. First up, supposedly this leaked contract numbers. Supposedly leaked contract numbers, and I'm gonna kind of read them off, then I'll pull it off so we can all be up there. I think was it Adam Schefter put some numbers on a podcast, or his podcast, and he said that Lamar was supposed to get $133 million at signing. Like once he signed the paper, $133 million, if I'm not mistaken. Then he would had an injury guarantee in there, and I don't really know what that means. What does that mean? Y'all know? Like if he get hurt or something? So
Yeah.
At any time during his contract, if he sustains a career-ending injury, he would get at least $175 million of that contract.
Okay, and then another clause in it was 200 springing in 2026, and I don't know what the word springing mean, but I know it says if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the NFL calendar year, he would jump up to 200 million guaranteed, and so that's kind of what I got from Schefter. Now I'll pull that down. What you guys think about that? I'll start with you, Mike.
That ain't enough. It ain't enough. And he look at the end of the day, he knows what's enough for him, right? Still not enough. You know that and we hear. Listen, man. One thing about this situation is it's on the front pages of all the networks, right? So it's all over Twitter. Getting tired of hearing it. It's all speculation. Not saying Schefter don't know his stuff, but I mean, I didn't heard about 100 different contracts that was supposedly offered to the guy. But at the end of the day, it's not enough. The man wants 200 guaranteed. Give him 200 and sign it. That's what it is. And that's still speculation, right? But I don't feel it's enough. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Kendo, question.
Yes, sir.
That Lamar Jackson I see over your shoulder, is that somebody subscribing to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what we need to see the rest of the night.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
The rest of the night. Make sure you do it. Jose, what you think about the leaked numbers?
I think the Ravens, the gatekeepers, as I like to call them out there, some people in mainstream media like Adam Schefter think that we're stupid, right? They think that we don't understand English. I know what fully guaranteed means, right? And that's not fully guaranteed. Oh, 133 mil at signing. That's the highest of anybody. What about the rest of the money? Right? That's not even close. Deshaun Watson got 230 mil fully guaranteed. If Lamar is saying, "Hey, I don't need exactly that much. I need at least 200." I mean, that's according to what Stephen A was saying, right? 200 fully guaranteed doesn't have any qualifiers to it.
Right.
Not if you're on the roster in 3 years, right? Not if you're hurt, but it's not career ending, so we don't have to pay you, because that's what that means. That's what that means, right?
That's the second number.
Yes.
That 175.
Yeah. Lamar's not stupid, and a bunch of you guys aren't stupid. We're not stupid. We understand that. So I was on Twitter. I see certain people out there kind of pumping up that number, like, oh yeah, that's better. That was better than Kyler Murray. That's better than Russell Wilson. Those are the same people that a couple weeks ago when Stephen A said, hey, they didn't even come close to those numbers. They were telling you, oh, don't believe ESPN. You can't believe them. Now today they want you to believe them.
Yep. B, what'd you think?
Yeah, I don't know why they keep leaking out the same contract details that they've been talking about since September. It's March now. Why don't you tell us what you offering him today?
Right.
Because that's what Lamar had confirmed that when he talked to Diana Rossini, before week one, that it was about once he said 160 to 180 total guarantees, which is what this deal is saying, 175. Like Jose and Mike said, it's not enough. That's less than what Kyler Murray got. That's not what he wants. So why are you still talking about it? My thing has always been like, it's not anybody's fault if a player leaves in free agency. It's they have a number. You don't think they're worth that, so they go. I don't hear anybody crying about Ben Powers.
Right.
Nobody's calling Ben Powers greedy. Nobody's saying anything about the team letting Ben Powers go because he made more money than they're willing to pay him. If you're not willing to pay Lamar, then let Lamar go.
Yep.
But don't be in the media leaking. Oh well, he's just kind of greedy because we offered him 200 and he said no. Well, like he told you what he wants. If it's more than that, either offer more or let him go. Right. It's that simple. You don't need to go through all this.
No gray area.
No.
Hendo?
Yeah. It's not enough. And we all know that. I've said this so many times before. For the last 4 years, Lamar's been our leading passer and our leading rusher.
Mm-hmm.
You take the average of the top 5 QBs and the average of the top 5 running backs, it's about $50 million a year. That's just the start. And that's just given his production on the field, not his value to the franchise. So I don't want to hear about, what could be if you're on a roster on this date. Give that man the contract that he wants. If not, stop leaking stuff. I'm tired of the soap opera drama. I'm tired of even staunch Lamar supporters that have been for months supporting him and what he's doing. Now they're flipping on him.
Right.
And I think that they're getting tired of the whole saga, but Lamar's not saying anything. He's not putting anything out. He's not leaking anything. He's just sitting in his house, minding his business. And here we go with this nonsense. So my thing is, the Ravens need to pay this man the money or let him go. Stop trying to come out looking like the good guys or we're trying to do everything we can to keep him in Baltimore. If you were doing everything you could to keep him in Baltimore, for one, you'd have given him some offensive skill players before this situation happened, which may have lessened the blow of the contract negotiations now. Because my thing is always been, if you're not going to supply me with the things I need to do my job properly, you're going to pay me my worth. Right. And I don't think that they've done either of those things for Lamar Jackson just of yet.
Chris?
Yeah, I don't understand the part of the fan base that wants Lamar to just be like, well, that's a lot of money, take it. And it's like, it's easy to say that, from a 9 to 5 point of view, where you're making X amount of money every year. But we just saw DeMar Hamlin almost die on the field.
Right.
Facts.
And you want this dude to, like, yeah, it's a lot of money, of course, but is it the most he could get? When you look at Deshaun Watson, who missed 2 seasons, had a whole bunch of allegations,
right? And
he got granted, the Browns, they were desperate, and it's like, whoa, that's just a rogue team, a team that went rogue. And it's like, yeah, that's all it takes,
right?
Don't take one. There's 30 other teams other than the Browns and the Ravens. There's 30 other teams. It only takes one. So if one is willing to do that for Deshaun, one could be willing to do that for Lamar, who has an MVP, who's clean off the field. Yeah, he missed, a few games over the last couple of years, but he ain't missed 2 years.
Right.
He wasn't out getting massages by, 50 different women.
Right.
So, but he's not gonna end up on top with this. Like, it's clear that it's not gonna happen, and we know why. Like we can't, like, people are like Peter King was like, donation. Well, and if it's collusion, then show me proof. Well, I mean, it's, there's 32 of those guys. How can we prove that?
Right.
But there are things that we know that go on in this world that we cannot prove, but we know that it's going on.
Exactly. Now, speak on collusion. Like Chris just said, there's no way that, and the owners aren't stupid. So I ain't gonna even try to play them like they are. They all were pretty much together at some point, either for meetings or for the combine or something. And I'm sure there were times where they had coffee or a drink or some purple Kool-Aid, and they said, "Look, we ain't finished this guaranteed contract stuff. It ain't gonna happen. So let's go ahead and nip that in the bud." And they just had like had a conversation face to face. There's no trace of that. It wasn't an email. It wasn't a text message. They had a face to face, probably in passing. So there's no way to prove collusion. Now the allegation is definitely out there because I personally think it's collusion, and I think Chris just alluded to it, and I'm pretty much speak for everybody. I think y'all kind of in some form think it's collusion going on, but I don't want to say he not being blackballed. I think the guaranteed contract is being blackballed That's what's trying to be blackballed. The guaranteed contract. Go ahead, Hendo.
I'm sorry. Yes, that's being blackballed, and the fact that he's doing it without an agent because the agents are banding together as well.
About that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Listen, Roquan started it off, and he did a kind of smooth transition to getting a record deal for an inside linebacker with no agent in sight. And if Lamar comes and resets the market, and now you cannot call Deshaun Watson an outlier. If Lamar gets a fully guaranteed contract, it's no longer an outlier. It's going to be the norm because you guarantee you that Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, once they step up to the plate, they're going to be like, well, look what Lamar got. And I'm sure that they feel like they are better quarterbacks than he is, and it's going to set a trend. So the owners are banding together and saying, look, we have to nip this in the bud before it becomes the norm. It's already happened in baseball, happened in basketball. We cannot let this happen here because, unfortunately, yes, the NFL does collectively make the most revenue out of all the sports leagues, but the owners look at it as we have more players on our team than basketball.
And you look at baseball and basketball, they're considered the players kind of control what's going on. And NFL, the owners still have so to speak the control. But if you let them guaranteed contracts come through, that narrative is going to shift. It's going to shift to the players, or at least even out. At least.
Yeah, sure. And I would
go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I would like to say thank you to George Pickens for the $1.69 tip. He said, just wanted to check in on you, Hendo. Once Lamar leave, you coming to be a Steelers fan since you do a Steelers podcast. Congratulations on 1500.
I'm sure that should, because Suge dropped $2 over here. He says, what up, fam? Hope your night is well. Go Steelers. Should stay away from the super chats. Hit the donation button. Stay away from the super chats. Hit the donation button. And Brandon also donated $5. He said, sipping on my scissor out of my chalice black cherry strawberry blend. Tell wifey thanks for the sauce. So I think she's in the comment section to see that. She Brandon got like I said, he won the loyalty challenge, and he got an extra gift in his box. So if he wants to share that, I'll let him tell me to do it because he don't have Twitter like that or whatnot. But if you're in the Discord, you would know what he had. And the only way to get in the Discord is how, Jose?
Patreon on your Discord?
Yes. Same way to get in yours.
Patreon.com/tip2tally.
That is. Dynamite drop in. Dynamite drop in. All right, next topic. Let's see who we got. All right, and I hope you guys can read this or see this. I asked the question on Twitter, like, because with all these signings and stuff that was going on, who's eating up the cap, like, for us? And Michael, who's on Deep Cover Podcast with Chris, he sent me a link to this website, and I pulled this up. And it's we really only have 3 contracts that are, like, huge. Lamar's 32-something. Ronnie's... Appreciate it, Marco G. I'll read in just in a minute. Ronnie's 12-something. Marlon's 10. No, I'm looking at the wrong numbers.
Yeah, Ronnie's 23.6.
Ronnie's 23. Marlowe's 19.9, look like it. Mark Andrews is 12.6. And Zeitler is 9.4. And Roquan is 9 even. Yeah. So those are the only guys that are even close to double digits. So why are we so strapped? That's can you guys see this?
Yes.
Donation.
Well, I can tell you at least part of it because this is what Carolina does as well, or did for a long time. You have the guys at the top who are kind of elite players making that elite money, but then you got Tyus Bowser 6.5, Pat McCarty 6. Justin Tucker is obviously Justin Tucker, but he's making 6 for a kicker.
Right.
5.5 for Gus Edwards, 5.5 for Morgan Moses, who's playing for the other team half the time. Devin Duvernay at 4.5. Like it's those mid-level contracts that really eat up everything, and you don't really notice them.
It's what happens when you eat out every day, right? You're like, oh well, I mean, I'm just getting that dollar value meal off from McDonald's. That ain't costing nothing, right? But you're doing it for breakfast and lunch, and then you're doing it, 5-6 times a week.
Add up.
And then next thing you know, it's like, where's my money?
Right.
And then on top of that, you have to look at, like, all last year, we would sign guys for a week or two to a contract. This special teams player, this backup inside linebacker, this wide receiver from another team. Those things add up. And even though their contracts may be for $800,000, maybe 1.1 mil, if you let them go, that dead cap money still hits you.
I mean, look at this side right there. Look at the dead cap money for some of these guys.
Yeah, Nick Boyle. What's that? $3 million. Chuck
That
Clark,
was just dumb.
2.6. Calais, 2.4. Now I don't know. Well, we'll talk about Calais in a minute.
Look at that, $14 million for Justin Tucker, yo.
Yep.
Look, fast food. That's what's killing us. Fast food.
We ain't cooking. EDC not cooking.
Yeah, right.
Because he can't pick groceries.
Mm.
We got to eat out. You know, you ever
picking them on the defensive side.
You ever go to the market and then you get home and like, let me cook something to eat, and then you look through all the stuff you bought and was like, I really didn't get enough to make a meal. I gotta go eat out now. I just bought this and this and this.
Bro, I go make groceries and then be tired from making groceries and stop and buy something on the way home.
That's the way to do it.
I cook this later.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Mike, you got any thoughts on these contracts?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you bring this up, Coach, because they was talking about it recently on the local radio station. I think it was Jason Lockenford and them guys. And you know, I don't always agree with Lockenford, but like he's pretty heated about this situation and how they handling Lamar's situation. And he brought up how like you know Justin Tucker, right, is like the 6th highest paid player on this team, right? And his point was like, how are you in these situations and you don't spend no money, right? And I think this is why you can look at other teams like the Chargers could take 2 players, restructure and get $40 million in cap space, right? Mm-hmm. We don't even have that because we're not really spending money, right? Like to Jose's point, like you picking and choosing, you know, you eating out some place. Sometimes you might go to Roof Chris, sometimes you might go to Wendy's or McDonald's, right? But it's not even. I don't even think we have 2 players that we can put together and restructure to get that type of cap money. So it just doesn't make sense that we're always strapped. We're always up against the cap, and we're not really spending money. These other teams they have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players that they are paying big dollars. Mm-hmm. We got 6 or 7, right? and big dollars to us is $6 million, right? So it's just weird how it plays out this way for this team. I've never understood it for the past couple of years. We go into the off season, we ain't never got no money, right. But it's like, how you ain't spend nothing. I think these contracts, yeah, it's crazy to look at this. But he brought up this very point of how you talk about how you don't have any money. Speaking of EDC, mm-hmm. But like you look at your breakdown. Your kicker is your 5th or 6th highest paid player on your team. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
But it was a deal. I couldn't pass it up.
I think the thing that befuddles us the most is the simple fact that, you know, you say, where does the money go? We don't have any money, but your quarterback was on a rookie deal. Mm-hmm. And we average at least 9 draft picks a year because that's how you're supposed to build a team when you don't have money is through draft picks. Right. So if we're drafting 9 people a year and we have a quarterback on a rookie deal, where is this money going? Because I've been asking this question for years. Who the heck are we paying that we can never sign anybody? But we'll always find that change in the cushion to sign a defensive player though. You know that always happens.
Because I mean, just look at the chart: $32 million for Lamar, and that just got on there. That was not there. 23 for Ryan. Ryan was the highest paid for a minute. 19 for Marlon. Market was that 12. That's only 4 guys over double digits as far as millions. Mm-hmm. Like, do we got a gambling problem or something? Where our money at?
We got a habit.
Something. Nose tickling or something. B, what you think?
Well, like I said, it's where you bring in those overpriced veterans. Because like Hendo said, yeah, you draft, 9, 10 guys a year, but you don't want them to play. Mm-hmm. Right? They're not ready to play. They're too young. They make mistakes. Let's trade for Calais Campbell. Let's bring in Derek Wolfe. Let's go and get. I mean, Marcus Williams is a good signing, but you have Kyle Hamilton. Everybody loves Geno Stone. Apparently, you had Chuck Clark. You drafted Brandon Stevens, but let's go pay Marcus Williams on top of that, mm-hmm. Right? And like I said, I laugh because Nick Boyle. They signed him to like a $7 million a year deal, and Josh Oliver got that same deal today because he's a blocker. Whatever, it didn't really work out for Baltimore. But that's all right. But you take these veterans who aren't great players, who aren't difference-making players, but you pay them the kind of going rate for free agents, at their position, and it kills your cap, and you don't see it.
It's crazy. Hendo?
Oh no, I spoke on this.
Chris?
Yeah, I forgot who said it. But it's the middling players. Like that's the problem. Like a Nick Boyle and let's just say Pat Ricard, right? Like they were very important for that 2019 run, right? But to give them those contracts, who else is going to give them those contracts? And can you get another fullback on the cheap? I think you can.
You got fullback, so you got 18 tight ends.
We drafted one.
And it's like, why pay these guys at positions that are relatively, I'm not going to say, you could get another tight end who could block just like Nick Boyle, because Nick Boyle was like one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. But, I mean, damn it, isn't it 80-20? Isn't that Ozzy's rule?
Right.
You get 80% for $20 of the value. And I would take that over paying a guy like Nick Boyle, especially after coming back from an injury when they extended him like that. That was just dumb. And it's like you can't be paying these middling dudes and then you let a Matt Judon go because let's say you don't pay Tyus and you don't pay Gus, but then maybe that frees up money for Judon. Let's just say hypothetically speaking,
or Zadarius.
You give one of those guys the money instead of two middling dudes. How much of a difference would that make? I mean, to me, it's just it's those middling contracts are the ones that kind of end up hurting them because then when those middling guys get hurt, like they did with a Nick Boyle and a Tyus Bowser and a Gus Edwards, then that's when you find yourself, up a creek without a paddle.
Right. So what I'm getting from you is if we pay Zadarius, and then say Zadarius does get hurt, you could then have the money to bring in a replacement, but he's going to be like super cheap until Zadarius gets back. But now you got 2-3 middling guys, and both of them hurt, so you're stuck because you got that money plus to bring in the replacement.
Or the middling guys don't progress the way you would expect them to, because it's not like progression is always like this.
Right.
It could be up and it could be down.
It could be regression.
So you're hoping that you could get them on that upswing, but you just never know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I'll tell you one thing, it's crazy. Even if Gus Edwards, Nick Boyle, and Pat Ricard don't get hurt, you're still up a creek. All right, don't pay players like that. Don't give your backup running back $5.5 million. Just don't do it.
All right, quick, because I'm gonna
your
say this, and a lot of people probably don't agree with me, but you could have let Gus go and ran with Tyler Batty as the backup.
Yeah. Or
What you drafted for? Or Justice Hill?
We drafted
We get. I think they get too connected with guys, and sometimes forget it's a business. And they trying to. The Harbaugh is the best friend ever, so he trying to please everybody. You gotta be cutthroat at sometimes.
Bargain deals.
Right. We don't. They not bargains for what they doing. You getting a guy that's getting 200 carries. No, not even 200 carries. Maybe 100 carries, 175 carries a year, and he's making $5 million.
Yeah. Right.
That's too much. That math ain't mathing.
Well, how about this, Coach? You don't learn from your past mistakes. We did the same thing with Dennis Pitta. He got hurt. We gave him a contract extension. He was never the same. We did the same thing with Nick Bull. Like, what are y'all thinking? But once again, it's about friendships and loyalty. It's not a business when it comes to players that are under John Harbaugh's wing. Like, he's cool with the father and he's cool with the uncles. But when it comes to Lamar, because he's a different type of cat, now it's
a business.
It's business. We have to worry about putting stuff around him. How can we build a team if we sign Lamar? I'm sitting up here looking at these teams that they go crazy. I'm like, how can San Francisco sign all these dudes? They just paid a bunch of people.
Right. It's crazy. And I was just about to, you beat me to the point. Like, everything's friend and loyalty, but then when it comes to 8, it's a business. How your shit changed then? It's crazy. Let me see. Marco G donated $5 through the super chat. He said 8 negotiating a big contract without an agent is like talking to a cop or a judge without a lawyer. Some agents are close with owners and can make back channel deals. That part is true. But But as far as Lamar's star power is, he don't necessarily have to have an agent. Like those middling guys need agents. Lamar's top echelon, top 2% as far as stars in the league. He don't have to, because he gonna get paid one way or the other. And so why not just keep that 5 to 8 or whatever percent in your pocket or in your mama pocket or whoever? Because it ain't like, a lot of people get this misconstrued. It ain't like he's not out there getting help from professionals. It ain't like he getting contract offers and him and his mama sitting at the table reading them like, So he's probably getting offers and sending them to Demaris. Probably got a team of lawyers that that ain't agents that look over it, and then they come to a conclusion or a decision together. He ain't looking at the contract and by himself trying to figure all that shit out. So I wish people would stop even going there with it.
And apparently he's only got the one offer, right? Because that's the only one they want to talk about. Right? The one they set up in September.
They keep trying to craft a different way to tell you 133 mil, but I haven't seen that number change at all.
Once.
At all. Jared Green donated $3. He says, never seen a player that was an MVP go through this. We probably won't see it again either.
Facts.
Unless Lamar Jackson Jr. come along in 22, 25 years. Danny Quite subscribes. I appreciate it, Danny. Suge donated $2 more. He said, my bad. Here's another donation for the channel coach. And Pickens is a big fan of Hendo's and LBHT crew.
He is a fan of the show. Him and Kenny Pickett.
Wow.
Question for the panel. What is a big move that the Ravens can make to keep the peace in the AFC North? Keep pace in the AFC North. Much love.
Keep the peace.
Keep pace. My bad. Sign Lamar. What y'all think about that?
That's the consensus.
Sign Lamar and trade for a wide receiver.
Really,
I mean,
or sign one.
If they, I wanted to trade. I don't really want any of those free agents.
Who's out there? Who's out there, Chris? Other than Myers,
It's one out.
They say DJ Chark, but
Fuck him.
who you want, Coach?
3 letters.
Oh,
OBJ.
I mean,
yes.
yeah, I wouldn't mind him, but I mean, I still rather
Get
trade.
him too.
Get both of them.
Every time we talk about Ravens getting a free agent wide receiver, we always limit ourselves to one. We can get
Right.
But you know what?
This is true.
We still $3 million over the cap. Still,
No, I think they're good now.
they good now.
I think so with the Calais thing.
Oh, okay.
They should probably cut Gus just in case.
No,
They
Gus
restructured.
they just restructured him. And then the Chuck trade, it goes through
Tomorrow.
Wednesday.
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 I'm thinking
Wednesday it goes through. So they're gonna have more money. They have to be at a certain point, and then the Chuck thing doesn't go through till Wednesday. So they're gonna be in a good spot financially. You would think.
We hope.
Speaking of restructured, you guys saw that the Browns restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, and all of a sudden they have money again.
Yeah, that's
What
on
they
the
get?
slide.
What they get? 36 mil?
We gonna get to
Yeah.
it. We gonna talk about old massage man in a minute.
36 mil. And here we are getting $800,000.
Right. So the Ravens last week said goodbye to Chuck Clark. I always thought Chuck was a pro's pro. He didn't make a lot of plays, but he was where he needed to be most of the time, and he was good at getting the team organized. I feel like he was the smartest guy out there, but the weakest link out there too at times. Like he was never impactful to me, with the exception of I think the game I went to in 20 when he had the pick 6 and he had the 2 interceptions.
2 interceptions.
The Rams.
The Rams, and that was the only game that I can remember that he was impactful. But he was had the green dot for a long time. Kind of had to stay on the field because of that reason. And I was traded to the Jets one day last week. What are your thoughts on Chuck moving on, Hendo?
I'm so happy. Listen, no, I don't mean like that. Listen, you're correct. He was the weakest link. He was a solid guy, but I just think for the money that he was making, he could have done a little bit more. Like, he dropped a lot of interceptions. He missed out on a lot of plays, but more importantly, I think it's time for Kyle Hamilton to take his place. He's the 14th overall pick in the draft, so I think he needs to be on the field. Like, there's no reason that Geno Stone should have been on the field and he playing some hybrid package.
Right.
He should have been our starting safety. So now we get to see him for a full offseason, a full season. I wish Chuck the best. We knew once they drafted Kyle Hamilton that the writing was on the wall for him.
He did
and he gets the chance to shine. He gets to go to a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Aaron Rodgers goes there, he might get a chance to even win more than one playoff game. So,
right,
good for him.
B.
Yeah, I think, and you heard it in Hendo's answer. Underappreciated. Okay. Long slandered Chuck Clark, who did nothing but come to work, do his job, and do it well. You know what? You say for the money he was making, he wasn't making that much money. You want him to catch the ball, pay him a little more, put a little incentive in that contract, Hendo. No, but I think he's a good, solid player. Happy for him that he gets to go to the Jets and they didn't dump him on some loser team. I mean, I don't want Atlanta. But it was a necessary move, like Hendo said. You got all of the safeties, so yeah, he was kind of the odd man out. But hopefully he does good things over there in New York.
Jose,
I like Chuck Clark, man. Yeah, like Hendo and B said, we drafted his replacement. It had to happen. But I hate what it represents, right? Because our thing is hashtag defund the defense. And what we saw was we spent $70 million on a safety, granted better safety, and we drafted, what we hope to be as a better safety. But I thought Chuck Clark was good enough, and I would have rather we didn't put all that investment on that side of the ball and put it on the offense side of the ball and kept Chuck Clark, right? Because Chuck Clark is what we do is what we end up keeping on the Ravens side, on the offensive side of the ball, except for worse. We don't get that consistency, and we say, oh, it's good enough. No, Chuck Clark is actually good enough. We could have just kept him as safety and put some money on the offense, but we always thinking we got to get better.
Right.
But, happy for him. But yeah, it's something that needed to happen. He wasn't going to stay on the roster with those two guys ahead of him.
Mike.
Yeah, man. Chuck, look, to B's point, Chuck wasn't making a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? So, but he's a player that he ain't gonna hurt you, right? Like, he's steady. He's solid, and that's what So the Jets got a solid player who, he plug and play. You know what I mean? Like, is he ball hawking? No, right? But is he gonna make the right play most of the time? Yes. Yep. So I didn't mind.
Let's say he's gonna be in position to make.
Yeah, he'll be in position to make it. But I mean, by all accounts, man, he was known as one of the smartest players out there. We remember he took the green dot from our heralded big time other free agent safety that we paid a lot of money to in Earl Thomas. So
Freaky Earl.
Yeah. So
best brother in the world, apparently.
Did we ever get that money back? Because they held up like $10 million.
I don't think so, but don't quote me.
They're going to quarter. He probably cashed that. He probably got that cash.
He probably spent that night with his brother.
No, it's in court because he was fighting it because the Ravens said since they cut him, they didn't owe him like $10 million, and it went to court. But I've not heard anything about it in like a year.
So yeah. They keep that stuff under wraps.
But it still counts against the cap until they resolve it. So that's $10 million of our cap being held up.
Shouldn't that be on that dead money thing that I just showed?
It should, but it's limbo because it could go either way.
Let me see.
Once they make a ruling.
Take us off.
Chuck on there?
Nope. It's Tyler Batty, Tyree Phillips, Derek Wolfe, Calais Campbell twice, Chuck Clark, and Nick Boyle.
Right, but they have made a ruling on it, so it don't count. I mean, it counts, but it doesn't technically count.
Oh, okay.
Because they could actually reverse it, and we could actually get that $10 million back. I just haven't heard anything about it.
Chris, you hadn't spoken on Chuck yet, right?
No. That Chuck deal, that feels like it was 2 weeks ago. The way how quick news moves. Like, I almost forgot about it. Mm-hmm. But I like Chuck, man. I mean, 6th round pick. Dude came in. Made his bones on special teams and then became a starter. He was a contributor. So, I got a lot of respect for Chuck because, being a 6th round pick and working your way up, that's tough. There's not a lot of 6th rounders who could make it like that. So I hope he has fun in Jersey. I hope him a lot of success, unless he's playing against the Ravens, and hopefully things go well for him. But I'm glad that they're able to go into this new direction and have the future of the safety spot, so to speak.
Gotcha. Hendo, I started with you, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on. Now this one kind of hurt me a little bit, being a Hurricane fan and whatnot, and loved having this guy around. It cut Calais Campbell, and at the end of this little statement, it says that he potentially could be back. But right before we started, Calais had a back and forth with Josina, and he basically said some teams probably going to get a beast, and that's ready to compete. So that didn't sound well, bode well for him coming back, because everything still is in limbo based off of what we do with Lamar. But, Calais, if you ever see this, for you, big dog, I salute you. And I appreciate the effort and the professionalism and all that you brought to the team. You're a real leader, man. Let me see who I'm going to start with on this one. Chris, I'll start with you.
Yeah, a lot of people, they were like, yeah, he's going to be back, once the new league year starts and Chuck's money comes off, Chuck's contract comes off the books, and Calais was like, nah, let's see what these other teams got for me, because, this is his last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's going to go to the place that's going to give him the most money and give him the best opportunity to win.
Right. I wouldn't even sign until week 7, 8. Until I see how this thing shaking out. I just chill, get my body right, work out, do the things I need to do to stay healthy. But I let this thing play out. Because somebody going to need something. And injury is part of the game, so the less he can play, the better he'll be for that stretch run.
Yeah, I hope he comes back, but I don't see that happen. I can see a team like the Eagles, who just lost a boatload of dudes, throw some money his way.
Yeah. Before I come to the rest of y'all, I forgot these guys. I don't want to forget them. Dre Mason donated $4.99, $5 through the super chat. Then he also doubled back with $2 and said we signed Justin Tucker just for him to make 65-yard kicks. and last year was probably his worst year. Honestly, if we want to keep it real, he missed more kicks last year than I can recall him making. Mm-hmm. And then Adnan, I think I said that right. Will Roquan take the green dot now? Should he better for $50 million? Or whatever, he make $100 million.
I thought you took it in that New Orleans game.
Yeah. He better take it. he better. Because we don't know what they're gonna do with Queen. So, and Roquan's here for the foreseeable future. So yeah, he better do it.
Because we know.
Hendo, on you. Calais.
You gonna get traded?
Hendo, Calais.
Calais.
Yes.
Listen. Shout out to Calais, like you said, whatever that is, because I ain't doing that. You, I give my half. You listen. I hope he goes somewhere else and gets that Super Bowl run. I really like Calais Campbell, but we shouldn't have re-signed him last year. Like his production declined a lot since that first year in Baltimore. And I know people say that we need that veteran presence, but he was making $8 million. I can find you veteran presence for less than $8 million. This is one of those instances where they overspend for certain things. Now you're paying for name value. I know he took a pay cut, but for his snap count, to me, it just wasn't worth the money. And yes, you can bring him back on the cheap, but why would you? Why won't you allocate that money to a player that may develop into something a little bit better? I know you can't find 6'8", 325, right, but you could find somebody that can play for a little bit less than probably the $4 million that you would probably have to give him this year. So I just, let him move on, let him win a ring with somebody else. There's no need for him to come to Baltimore, go out in the first round playoff loss. Like, go to a team and get your ring and ride off in the sunset.
B?
Yeah, I mean, like Hendo said, he shouldn't have been in Baltimore at that point. And that goes for Justin Houston and JPP as well. Like, it's time to move on, right? Like, those are the kind of guys you bring in when you're making a Super Bowl run, and that's not where Baltimore's at right now. Baltimore doesn't have a quarterback at this point. They don't have the wide receivers. They still got a little work to do on the O-line. Like, you bring in those guys for the last hurrah because you think you're going to be playing in February.
Right.
Not to try and, sneak into the playoffs and maybe we can beat Cincinnati kind of thing. Like, it's time to let those guys go and bring in some new blood.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Calais goes, I don't think he's coming back. He'd be a fool to come back.
Yeah, you gotta let Travis and Matabike cook. You brought them in. Let them cook.
Yeah, do whatever they do. But Calais, if I'm him, I'm calling up Kansas City and like, hey, you need me to sit on the bench for the first half of the season and then help you down, through the playoffs and whatnot. Or like you said, or just sit out for the first month of the season and see how things are shaping up before you make your decision. Because he's got to make the right choice, right? Because he doesn't have another run in him, probably.
Yeah, he could darn it sit out till November.
Yeah.
Jose?
Yeah, I mean, look, what B and Hendo were talking about is kind of what upsets me about this team is that, we don't let younger players get on the field unless they can give you a certain level of production because they have a set standard on that side of the ball, and they rather go veterans if anything because they're not going to let a rookie go in there and just try to figure it out. We don't have that standard on the offensive side of the ball, right? Which is frustrating, and that's why a lot of our resources, picks, cap space goes to that side of the ball to make sure we get it right, and it leaves the offense with nothing. But in terms of Calais Campbell, I thought he played well here. Yeah, absolutely, it's time to move on. But I'll say this, I'll add this. I think he would have stayed had he known if Lamar was going to be here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He made it known that he wants to play to try to get a ring. He also believed Lamar could get them a ring, but he also made a statement a few weeks ago that they need to bring back Lamar. I think he was trying to put pressure on them then, like, hey, I need you to get this deal done. I need to know that he's going to be here because I'm not going to sign to play with Tyler Huntley next year. So,
Jose, 1 second. Kurt 2512. He said, "Can you put the YouTube channels of the panel in the chat?" It's in the description. Everybody's YouTube channel is in the description. If you go to the description of this video, everybody's YouTube channel is in it. Let me make sure of that. It is. I just want to make sure. Everybody's.
Also,
go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say me and B are working on a website, lbhtshow.com. Right now we have our podcast, Hendo's, Mikey's, we got Deep Cover, and we got Sip 2 Tally on there. We didn't populate the whole thing. We just took the latest episodes and just put them up there. But every week we're gonna update that. So the audio podcast, you can go to lbhtshow.com and find all of our audio podcasts. But pretty soon we're going to have a page where you can find everybody's stuff, the schedule for when they post stuff and everything. They'll all be right there.
Is lbhtshow.com?
Yes.
Okay. I just put it in the chat box. Just put it in the chat box. All right, Mikey. Calais.
Man, I like Calais, man. I think Calais played well down the stretch this year. But older guy, man. I would have liked to see him stay. I wouldn't mind to see him come back on a team friendly deal. But I mean, I don't disagree with what any of you were saying. Like, you got some young players there. You got Matabike. You got my man, who Hendo ain't feeling, the third rounder who had a first round grade,
Big Trey.
He didn't have a first round season though, did he?
Not quite. But you gotta let these guys play, man, and let them get in there. But salute to Calais, man. I think Calais played. He was always one thing about Calais, man. When things didn't go the Ravens' way, like he always stayed the same. He would be upset. You could tell he would be disappointed that they lost or whatever the case may have been, or the season didn't pan out the way he would have liked. But he never ever showed any of that. He never dissed the Ravens, even today. With the Josina thing, he said, shout out, he loved Baltimore and all of that. But hey, it's a business. I gotta do what I gotta do. So hopefully
I think he understands what they're trying to do with that.
Yeah.
Plus, he's classy. He's classy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But hopefully he lands somewhere, where he got a legit shot to get that hardware, and then, also break that or reach 100 sacks. I think he's trying to reach 100, right? It's hopefully he get to reaching 100 sacks.
Yep, I think that's the number. Right? He always cheated them out of it. I think he's sitting at 99 and a half.
Yeah.
You know, Owe ain't did nothing all year, but stop that man from getting 100 sacks.
Elite defender.
Right. And I see Owe out there working with Coach BT Jordan, trying to work on his moves.
Wait a minute, Coach.
Good.
Wait a minute, Coach.
Go ahead.
Wait a minute, Coach. You see that slow ass video? The way he was moving so slow, and everybody look at him. He working. He putting the work. I'm like, yo, he moving in slow motion. Did they put this at half speed?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. That was the first one that was the first rep, and he's trying to feel it out and feel.
Oh, you mean when he should be the freshest? Got you.
Try to get him benefit of the doubt. You know, somebody's gonna be on your case, and you got to deal with them on a weekly basis. I was trying to be nice.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if she's in the comment section today. I don't know what she got going on, but
I was just asking, did he look slow? Because he looks slow to me.
We need him to work out. No always slander here. We need him to work out.
He got to.
Yeah, man.
But how well will it be if him and Ojabo the light come on?
That'd be great.
We need it. We don't have money. We don't have money to get anybody else. So
how amazing would it be if the light
saying,
came on for Crochet and Duvernay too? That'd be incredible.
All right, that's the end of the show for tonight.
wow.
But again, I will say this, and y'all gonna look at me stupid. I just think in a different scenario, he's not gonna be all world, all pro, but he at least he at least be serviceable.
We can't see it.
I see it. If your YouTube open, you can see it.
We ain't doing all.
She said, "Leave Owe alone. He's working on it." So I'll deliver the message.
She said that since week 2 of last year.
Won't specify what it is.
Yolanda B
all
says,
of it.
"What is it? Specify it." That's what we need to know.
And I'm sorry, Coach. You were saying something about somebody in a different situation. Ooh.
I don't even remember.
I just had a question.
Prochet.
I just had a question.
Prochet.
I just had a question.
Prochet.
I had a question. I had a question. I had a question.
Prochet.
No, I just have a question.
Prochet.
I got a question, Coach.
Hey, Deshaun Watson.
Hey, keep in mind, Hendo, keep in mind, I'm a teacher, and I see kids that want to ask questions. I know not to call on them. I have a lot of practice in ignoring hands. So go ahead.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like in a different situation or a different offense, you know, Prochet might be a
300-yard guy.
Right. He might
more
be
productive.
But my only question to you is, outside of Baltimore, what other team is he making?
Falcons, maybe. Maybe the Falcons. Maybe the Patriots. Maybe.
So two organizations that don't have a quarterback to get him the ball.
Call all these names, man.
So he's still getting 60 yards a season.
300.
I like Prochet. I want him to succeed. That's
too.
my guy. But it's just you have to come to the realization sometimes that some people just ain't got it.
He might not have it, but I don't think he had a fast chance to show if he had it.
Coach, you know, as you being a coach, if you have limited
XFL
facts, if you have limited opportunities to kind of show what you're about, and you get those opportunities, and you either drop the ball or commit a penalty, why am I going to put you on the field?
I'll say this, yo. I'll say this. If we're not going to make any serious moves in free agency, we're not going to trade for a wide receiver, we're not going to really try to, move up and get that guy in the draft, and we're saying, no, we like our guys, then let them play.
Well, first off, what do you mean not making any serious moves? I heard Alan Lazard and Darius Slayton come to town. But second, Coach,
I'll take it.
It's been a couple of years, and nobody can tell me why Prochet doesn't get opportunities. It's not because you have good receivers ahead of him.
Facts.
So what is it?
I don't know. I gave up this year. I'm just still throwing stuff out there, but y'all know I broke. Y'all broke me on Prochet this year.
Is he's still under contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got one more year.
They won't get rid of him.
He got one more year. Him and Dude got one more year.
He's got to transition into wide receivers coach or quality assistant coach. So they're keeping him around till his contract over.
Oh, team photographer.
Fact.
I hate y'all sometimes. Let's move on to Massage Man. Yeah, that's him. Deshaun Watson. So everybody was making all this big fuss about his contract, fully guaranteed, yada, yada, yada. And then somebody mentioned it earlier. He restructured. And it's going to give Cleveland $30-some-odd million to work with this year. Hendo, what you think about that?
Well, coach, if we sign a QB to all that money, how are we gonna build a team around him? You can't do it. Yes, you can. Coach, listen. And I think to what Mike said earlier with Jason Lockenfora on 105.7 The Fan. Is that the show? He spoke about it months ago and I've spoke about this before, but I've never really looked into it about cash over cap. There are ways that owners can pay these QBs the money that they're looking for or the contracts they're searching for and still have money to build a team around. Cleveland is showing you that right now. Like he got $230 million guaranteed. They just made a move and converted something probably into a signing bonus or something, and they got $36 million. You know how many transactions the Ravens would have to make to get $36 million in cap in cap room? 39 moves. So they're it doesn't take much, and Jose says this all the time. You have to look at other franchises. You have to look at other football games, watch how other organizations work, because us as Ravens fans, a lot of us just stick with what the Baltimore Ravens do and think that that's law. They just showed you I can make one move and make some room to sign him some weapons outside of Amari Cooper, outside of Chubb, outside of little hit boy. So when these owners are all in and they want to make moves to try to win, because I think what is it, Haslam?
Yeah, Jim Haslam.
Jim Haslam. I think he's tired of losing. I think he's tired of that being a losing organization. And listen, whether you like Deshaun Watson or not, or what you think of him, he is doing everything he can to build a winner. Cleveland did some things with Baker Mayfield that he felt, I'm just a quarterback away. We can take that next step. So he went out and got the quarterback. Now, unfortunately, he had to sit out. He's going to have a full year of everything under his belt. And they have money now to bring in more weapons. They've already had the defense. They had the offensive line. They have the secondary. They have the running game. They just lack that second wide receiver and maybe a tight end to take over for Njoku. So now they got a little bit of cash to play with. And watch what Cleveland does this year. Everybody says, I ain't worried about Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. Watch how we go from headhunters to being last in the division that fast. Because if Baby Mittens takes that step, Pittsburgh might be a contender. So, just look at other teams and see the moves that they can make if they really want to make it, how they sign people that they really want or believe in.
Well, you're just not going to gloss over that.
Also,
what'd you call that, man?
Baby Mittens?
Every time we talk about Kenny Pickett, you know what I think about? Y'all ever seen Scary Movie?
Take my little hand.
Chris, what do you think about Deshaun being restructured?
I mean, it seems nice now.
Damn.
That's a little too big for Kenny Pickett. No, it seems nice now, but I mean, they're gonna be in. They better hope that Deshaun is still good, because it didn't look good last year. And towards the end of the Texans run, it's not like he was lighting the world up on fire either. So they're pushing a lot of money into the future. And that all of that money looks nice now, but you don't even know if you really got an elite QB on your hands, to be honest. So I'm not like, this is a great job by Cleveland, because they're not a well-run organization. Like you say this, you could say that, but history speaks. They're not a well-run organization, and pushing that money into the future, he's gonna have cap hits of $63 million in a couple seasons. So, that they better hope that they get it right, because if they're wrong, that's going to be a franchise crippling mistake yet again from them.
Gotcha. Mike?
Yeah.
You get started.
No.
Either one. We can.
Go ahead,
Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I agree with Chris. I think, look, they made a move this year. It'll help them this year. Going forward, man, those cap hits look real, real bad. And they will find a way to trip over themselves and mess this up. But if it works, we all have to shut up. But this is a year, I think, that they can kind of go all in, right? Because each year going forward, man, is going to get harder and harder, right? I don't know if he can keep. I mean, I don't know how many times you can keep restructuring the deal yet, but it's going to get ugly for them in the future. But hey, I mean, you got 36 million or whatever you restructured this year. You bring in a big name or two. I even heard OBJ's name floating around again. I can't see it, but I heard it. Right, so bring in some pieces, and you go all in this year. I'm not mad at the move. I'm all for teams being aggressive, right? So them being aggressive, going all in, restructuring the deal, getting some cap space. Let's see what they build and how they can do it. But it gets ugly for them year by year after this one, for sure.
B?
I'll just for my guy Shug, who's not here, I wanted to remind y'all that baby mittens or toddler digits, or whatever you want to call them, beat your $100 million linebacker for a touchdown to win the game. So yeah, he ain't got the big enough hands, but that Ravens defense still couldn't stop him. All right, that's just so I don't hear from Shug later. Now, as far as Deshaun, I agree with Chris to the extent where they're a terrible organization. They always have been, but if it doesn't work out, then you're just still the Browns, right? You're still that same team, and who cares? It's the Browns. If it does work out, then you've got a chance to move yourself into another echelon within the league. In terms of creating this cap space, I hope they didn't do it for free agency because there ain't nothing out there. So they got to be looking, DeAndre Hopkins, maybe trying to get Mike Evans, something like that, because I hope you didn't restructure a fully guaranteed deal to go and get Jacoby Myers or, like you said, Alan Lazard or something like that. That would not be worth it. So it depends on what they actually do with that money. But as long we always say, if you have a chance, you think you're close, be aggressive and go get what you need to make your run. And so that's what they're doing. I think Deshaun will be fine. I think he had been out of the game for a year and a half or whatever it was. So yeah, he didn't look great. He didn't look good. But I think by the time the season rolls around, he should be back to himself. And I mean, unless, Chris, what you're saying is he went to rehab for his little problem and that took away his abilities.
He lost his mojo.
On one hand, as a football fan, that would be unfortunate, because I used to love watching Deshaun Watson play, but you get what you get. But yeah, no, I think as long as they are smart with what they try to do with the money for this season, it's a good move.
Jose?
Yeah, no, I mean, you take that risk if you're Cleveland, because they've been Cleveland for so long. So okay, if it doesn't work out, what changes, right? Like they'll still get laughed at like they normally do, but that's the type of player that you want to take a risk on, right? So that's a calculated risk in my opinion. And yeah, like the cap hits. That another thing that they did today was add voidable years onto his contract, so that stretches out that money, right? You saw the Saints do that. Yeah, they did that for Taysom Hill. He had like 8 years on his ridiculous deal.
2-year deal.
So this is the thing. The cap wasn't meant to restrict teams. It's only meant to restrict players. Owners can always get around it. If a team wants to keep winning, they can keep winning for however long they want to. Kicking the can, kicking the can down the road. Where's the end of the road for the NFL? There is no end of the road.
Right.
So they can keep kicking the can. They can keep finding ways to get the players that they want if they want to do it. Right. Like, you might have to put some money up front. Some owners like, I'll do it. You might have to, construct contracts in a way to where, all right, like in Tom Brady's case, because Tom Brady was always taking less money, but really they're just paying him. They're still paying him with the Patriots. They're still paying him with Tampa Bay, right? They just put kick money down the road. But whatever it takes, if they want to keep winning, they can find a way to do it. I don't have a problem with it, man, because they're a bad organization, but we're looking worse than them right now.
True. Moving on. So let's talk about some of these blockbuster situations that popped up this week, and this is the first one that came to my mind. This dude. Again, Rams were team F them picks. So now they starting to unload. First thing, Jalen Ramsey was traded to the Dolphins, and now the Dolphins have signed Jalen Ramsey this offseason, signed Tyreek last offseason, and had a pretty decent team already. So now they got a stud on defense, a stud on offense to pair with Jalen Waddle and to pair with who's the other corner?
Howard.
Xavier Howard, right?
Xavier Howard.
So the Dolphins on paper, and they picked up Tua's 5th-year deal. The Dolphins are on paper looking to make some noise.
And don't forget they traded for Bradley Chubb.
I forgot about Chubb last year. I did forget about that. Mike, we'll start with you.
This is again. I I spoke on being aggressive. I like it. They're going all in. This it's been talks of the salary cap ramifications that we talk about going forward after this. But man, they going all in. I have to respect that. It's just a shift, right? If we seen the Rams do this a couple years ago, turned into a chip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the Rams are realizing, like, okay, man, maybe we need to reshuffle, do a couple of things. Miami is taking they're taking their lead in this situation, and they're doing the same thing. I gotta respect it. It's a good move for them. They gave up nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Would they give up a 3rd-round pick and a backup tight end?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are gold in Baltimore.
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, we could have gave up that 3rd round, and my man Oliver just got paid today, so we could have gave you Josh Oliver if that was the case. You know what I mean? But I like it, man. Kudos to Miami. They all in. So let's see what comes out of it.
Jose?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like what Miami's doing as well, man. Like they're showing up, all their weak points. They're really trying to make a run. So, I mean, like, there's not much to say, man. Some people think that he's declining a little bit, but he's still one of the top corners in the league. So, I mean, look, they're making all the moves that we should have been making. I mean, I hate it. I hate that this didn't happen for us. We should have had Jalen Ramsey, but of course we found a deal. we found a bargain. So now he's in Miami after winning the Super Bowl with the Rams, and he goes to another team that's trying to win a Super Bowl. So salute to him.
B.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like I said before, if you think you're close, you be aggressive in getting the things that you think you need to get you over the top. They even went out and got some insurance for Tua. In case he gets hurt again. They signed Mike effing White. I'm not.
That happened today.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they think that's going to do if Tua gets hurt, but they're trying though. That's the point, right? There weren't a whole lot of options out there, but. Yeah, absolutely. If you think that you are that close, you go and you do whatever needs to be done.
Hendo?
I love it. Listen, I think the thing that people aren't looking at is on the Los Angeles side of things. Yes, like Jose said, a lot of people think that Ramsey's play has slipped a little bit. Now, if Ramsey was the player that he was 3 years ago, this deal would have never got made. The Rams are resetting. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, all the Ravens fans are like, oh, look at the Rams. Would you trade in a Super Bowl for this right now? Yes.
that 3 to 5 year run the Rams had, I'd trade in a heartbeat.
Yes.
The other thing is, even though they may suck next year, the rebuild process is still gonna be exciting for that franchise.
Like, isn't that's the goal though? Like, to win.
A lot of people forget that.
Like, the goal is to win. And it's not like they just won one. Like, they were in the Super Bowl before that too. Like, that's the goal. The goal. There's different ways to win, but their way worked for what they wanted to accomplish. So what the hell are these people talking about?
They have to justify their team losing.
We've been doing things the right way for 10 years.
Right. We're doing
still waiting.
Building about a draft, type of the salary cap. So, and even this year, the Rams wouldn't have been as bad if they hadn't had a bunch of injuries. They lost their quarterback, starting wide receiver, linebacker, Aaron Donald. Like, they lost a lot of people. Yeah. So they would have been a lot better. I just think that this accelerated the move for them to possibly suck this upcoming season and watch what they do. They're getting their money right. They're going to make some trades because Jose said this before. Draft picks come every year, so every year you're going to get new draft picks to play with and make moves. Now for the Dolphins, I love it. Like, listen, you got Bradley Chubb, you got Tyreek Hill, you getting Jalen Ramsey. You're building a team, and I've been saying this all off season. Stephen Ross is a gangster. Like when that dude wants something, he gonna go get it. So don't be mad when he said, you know what, I built this team for Lamar Jackson. And he finds a way to get them picks. Because listen, they had 3 first-round picks for the last several years. They lost one, they forfeited one for the Tom Brady thing. Don't think he can't go out there and make some trades, make some moves, and get some more first-round picks to go get Lamar Jackson. If he really wants Lamar and Lamar wants to go home, they will be a super team. They will be the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Miami Heat of the NFL.
Not the Miami Heat. Chris?
Yeah, I like the move. That defense is going to be ridiculous. And they hired Vic Fangio as their DC too.
Yes.
That's something that he's actually good at instead of being a head coach. So, they're going to be a problem, a real big problem. So, shout out to them for making that move. And I think the call for Jalen Ramsey's demise, did he have that Jalen Ramsey that we used to kind of season? No, he didn't. But when you look at the dumpster fire that the Rams were last year, I mean, we see it every year on certain teams where it's like a black cloud over the whole organization. And I think this would invigorate him. And I don't think that Jalen Ramsey's falling off a cliff.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get honest, iron sharp as iron.
Right.
He's got to go up against Tyreek Hill every day in practice, and I wonder what that battle's going to be like. Because I remember when Jalen was like, "Yeah, Tyreek is a Pro Bowler as a special teamer, not a wide receiver." I remember that.
Yeah.
I wanted them to squash that beef.
Yeah, they and then Jalen jacked him up at the flag football game this in the Pro Bowl too. I think Tyree tweeted, if you hit me like you hit me in the Pro Bowl, we fight. But I think it's squashed. And but the thing is, what I want to see is not only is he going against Waddle and Tyreek every day in practice, 2 games versus Diggs, who they don't like each other.
Yes,
don't like each other. Then you got them young receivers at the New York.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
I'm excited to see those 2 games and
more.
Yeah, was it Elijah Moore? Elijah Moore, yeah. So I'm excited to see what they can do and bring it back, but I hope they lose against us. But
we gonna find out about Josh Allen this year, boy.
We all hope.
You hope who loses against us, Coach?
The Dolphins.
Listen, Vic Fangio got a thing out for us, bro. He's going to devise a plan to hurt somebody. He does not like Joe Harbaugh at all.
You can't come up with a better plan than what they already got down there.
Facts.
We still ain't recovered from what
Flores
did.
Flores pulled it out of their hat on us, and everybody's been doing it. Everybody at some point in time, everybody's been doing it.
That is true.
I've even seen some, like watching these college games, doing these prospects. I've even seen some college teams line up like that. So it is what it is. Let's go on to the next dude. Bye. That's all I got to say. Get him out of here. I was so glad this dude signed elsewhere.
I hate her.
Where you go, Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna win a game, but he got his money. Let's start with let me see. Mike look like he might be doing something. Start with you, Jose.
Nah, you just said it. We won't hear from him again. So, I'm glad, man. That's one of those things, man. Like, I look, we struggle on offense already, and good players like that just make it even worse. But him leaving, it helps. But then again, if we don't sign Lamar, it doesn't matter.
True. B.
Yeah, they actually lost another safety today too. I don't know if you
Von Bell.
Oh, that's right.
To the Panthers.
To the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know what their plan is or if they have one, but I think that the corners they have definitely need that safety backup. So this was probably not the best. Letting both of them go was probably not the best idea. But yeah, good for Baltimore.
Good for him. Good for Bates.
What you think about Von Bell coming? What you think about that? Von Bell coming to your team?
I mean, I like it. I like it. You know, he's like I say, he's a good solid player, and it'll allow them to kind of move Jeremy Chin around, and I think let him be more of the playmaker that he really is. So yeah, you know, it was a pretty decent signing.
Hendo, get this guy out of here. What you think about it? Bates.
Good riddance of bad rubbish. Like, listen, get that man out of here. He made too many plays against us, and listen, that leaves the division champs vulnerable. What they got? Michael Thomas and what is it? Daxton Hill.
Yep.
Daxton Hill?
Isn't Thomas gone too?
No, I think they re-signed him. They re-signed
Yeah,
him.
they signed him.
Okay.
They re-signed him today. So you know they got an inexperienced safety and a dude that's old. I'm loving it. Hopefully Todd Monken can dial up some stuff and Tyler Huntley can learn how to pass and we can get some things rolling.
Tyler Huntley.
Huh?
Tyler Huntley.
Listen, even if Lamar stays with the team, he's gonna sit out for at least 6 weeks.
I wasn't thinking about Lamar either. I was thinking about his same quarterback.
Baker Mayfield?
The one he had last year.
Stetson Bennett?
I've seen stranger things from this team.
You ain't never lied.
Jose, what you think about it?
Oh,
Chris.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. Get him the hell out of there. Him and Vaughn. Because you know those. You know there are certain guys. Today was a good day for the Ravens offense because there are a few dudes who are just annoying on other teams, like Von Bell, you know, Bates, and then Sutton.
Cam Sutton.
Sutton from the Steelers. Like those dudes are just like they're not like Jalen Ramsey type players where it's like, oh yeah, everybody knows who they are. But it's like if your team plays these dudes 2 times a year, you like that. I hate that dude. You know, so to get those 3 dudes out of the division is huge. And I'm glad he got his money. I'm always for players getting the most they can. So I'm glad he cashed out.
Even though we won't hear from him for probably the rest of his career. But Mike, are you there?
They got a good secondary now. Well, they got Terrell and they got him now. That's some good building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Steelers replace Sutton with Patrick Peterson too.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. Me and Pat Pete went to we was at the same prom.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
No, I'm just saying how Pat Pete, I know 37, 38. At least it seems like it. It seems like forever. It seems like I was in high school when he wore 7 at LSU. That's what it seems like. But he's still going. Still being productive, I guess, to get paid. Mike, you there to talk about Bates?
I think little Mikey got him preoccupied.
Okay, we'll move on. Next up. Jimmy G. And see, I think you can't see it. It say the Raiders. I got 2 friends of mine that are Raiders fan and a guy that's kind of in our little Madden thing, and they are sick. They are sick that they got Jimmy G. But you know, hey, I need Jimmy G to come through because I just picked up I think his best receiver. So I need that to pop off so I can get me some hardware coming my way.
Who got his best receiver? You got his best receiver?
I think I just did.
Yeah, Devontae.
Oh, finally? We been trying to get rid of him for a minute.
I was, man. Like I don't know what's up with the people in this league, man. He had 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. Nobody wanted him.
I made you an offer. You said no.
No, you didn't.
He'd be so nonchalant. No, you didn't. Well, Chris, we'll start with you. What you think about Jimmy G going to Las Vegas?
They might as well be in Oakland. Who gives a damn? Like it's just a dumbass franchise. Like you know, like I get Jimmy G is going to be making half of what Derek Carr is making, but why not just reset? Like if this is what you're going to do, like you're not going to win anything with Jimmy G. You're not going to win with him, and it looks like they might be on the outside looking in when it comes to the top quarterbacks in the draft.
Yep. What pick are they?
8 or 7?
They're 7.
7, and then Atlanta's 8, right?
Yeah.
They still could possibly.
They're gonna be fighting for Will Levis.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's your plan, I don't know, man. Good luck, because that's not a good transition to be asking Jimmy G to be the dude who keeps you afloat.
what I would do if I was them, and what I would do is because you sign Jimmy G, and you're probably not gonna get one of them top 3 or 4 guys. Bring DTR back home and let him back up Jimmy G. If you don't know, DTR went to high school in Vegas. Bring him home, let him be your sit a season or 2, and then put him in the starting lineup. Because I'm a huge fan of DTR, a huge fan of him. I think he could eventually be a okay guy. He could be Jimmy, the quarterback from UCLA. Dorian Thompson Robinson, I think that's his name.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's a quarterback for UCLA, and he played receiver in high school because he had to sit behind Tate Martell.
Mm-hmm. That's Bishop Gorman, right?
Bishop Gorman, yes. He had to sit behind. They moved him to receiver because of Tate Martell.
Stretches across generations.
Tate Martell. So, but again,
his sister more famous than him now.
It's crazy. We ain't gonna talk about milk today, though. Mike, what you think about the Vegas Raiders signing Jimmy G?
Safe signing, I guess. Like, I mean, nothing that's like, ooh, I don't feel like. I mean, I don't know. Did y'all see Devontae Adams?
No,
he's not feeling it.
he put up a like a heading that said in his story, if I haven't talked to you within the last 3 weeks, I ain't got to say to you. Like, basically, don't call me. So, yeah, I don't think he's too happy, but we'll see. But it's a safe move, right? It's not a move where, again, it's going to hurt you, but it's a move. It's also not a move that's going to make you into a contender, I guess. Right? They're not built like San Fran, even though he got some weapons, right?
He do.
He got Adams.
He got more weapons than the Ravens.
Yeah, he got weapons.
Wow. Yeah.
Everybody do.
He just steady guy. Safe signing, in my opinion.
He got an elite tight end.
Mm-hmm.
He has an elite X, and he has a pretty solid slot guy.
Yeah.
And Jacobs,
the leading rusher in the NFL. Yes.
So if he fails, it's on him now.
Yeah, he will.
Now they should be able to score on people. Can they stop people in that division? Can they stop KC? Can they stop the Chargers? Can they stop Russ if he starts back cooking? That's gonna be their situation. Jose, what you think about Jimmy?
Yeah, I think they downgraded that quarterback, man. I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Derek Carr had a bad year last year. That's the coach. And Jimmy G with Josh McDaniels is going to look terrible. Right? Yes, they have a lot of weapons, but Josh McDaniels is awful. He should not be in that head coaching position. The only reason he's still there is because their owner is a broke boy and can't afford to fire him, can't afford to pay him out. But it was reported, and I didn't hear anybody refute that they were trying to fire him last year, but just couldn't afford to do it. Right. So you have to get rid of your quarterback because you can't afford to let your coach go. That's not a winning formula. They should have. If I'm Mark Davis. And it's, hey, I don't want this coach, but I can't keep Derek Carr here. He won't work with Derek Carr. I let Derek Carr go, but I'm not putting any money in the quarterback. Like, you get whoever's on the roster. Yeah, you get whoever's on the roster. You work with that. Who is it that he has here? The guy that was in Stidham. Yeah, Stidham. You got to make it work with Stidham.
Like Smoking Mama said. Make it enough.
Make it enough. Yeah.
Stidham just signed with the Broncos. He signed with the Broncos.
Oh, well, I mean, get whoever in the second, third round of the draft and say make it work. But we're not investing any more in this team until I can get you off this team.
Gotcha. B?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously San Francisco had some success with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? They got to the Super Bowl. They got to another conference championship. Don't really think he had much to do with it. Right, like they were one throw away from winning the Super Bowl, and he couldn't make it. So yeah, you save some money, going from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. But why not save yourself some more and just go with Mike White? I mean, how much worse is he than Jimmy Garoppolo, if at all?
So, like, I think you'll go from 7-10, or maybe 6-11, to 1-16
with Mike White,
and then you come out. You come out on the other end with Caleb Williams next year.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, might as well just tank and just play the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes.
You can't tank with Devontae though. You're gonna have to move Devontae. He's not gonna stay on a team that's tanking.
They're not trying to win anyway.
They're not gonna win either with him.
Yeah, he ain't got much of a choice. So he just signed his deal. They're gonna do him like Za'Darius. Hey, I'd like to be traded. And like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, why don't you go get your uniform on?
That was funny.
They left him on red.
That was funny. Hey, y'all gonna trade me? They did it like we be doing people in the chat.
like your son. Dad, LBT's picking on me. They won't respond to me.
What would you like me to do?
Mike, did I hit you with Jimmy G?
Yeah.
Chris, you got Jimmy G? Hendo, Jimmy G?
Like B said, with the 49ers, he wasn't really a part of that success. In their playoff wins, he averaged 170 yards passing the game, if that much. Anybody could do that. I just think that your boy said, hey, if you want me to coach this team, I need my type players.
Right.
And being that he and Jimmy G go back to New England days and he has familiarity with him, he's hitching his horse to that ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the owner's like, look, if you can't make it work with one of your guys, you're gone. So I think that they know that a year or two, when they bottom out at 1 in 16, and they miss out on Caleb Williams because it's a year too late, they'll all be gone because Jimmy G just isn't that guy. He can get you to a certain point, but for one, his passing stats aren't that good, and two, he can't stay healthy. They like to talk about Lamar. Nobody's talking about Jimmy G not being able to play a full season.
Right.
Because I can't remember the last time he stayed healthy. Actually, I don't think he ever has. Because once he left New England and he played for San Francisco, he missed like the first 5 games. And then he's missed games ever since, but still got, at that time, a record $132 million contract or something like that. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just a travesty with what some of these quarterbacks can get.
Labeled a winner. Mm-hmm. Labeled a winner.
Listen, Jimmy going to Vegas. He know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. We know what Jimmy like. Mm-hmm.
We all know what Jimmy's little side gig is.
Yeah. Oh, I respect that part.
While we focusing on Ja Morant and the floor that you couldn't see because of the dollar bills, let's not talk about Jimmy G up in here.
Right.
The thing is, the places Jimmy G go just don't need clout to put pictures out there.
Fact. Right. They already making money.
Right.
And got clientele.
Exactly. Next up. I'll pull it up. There it is. 49ers get richer. So we just stay talking about the 49ers. They signed, this is Javon Hargrave, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
One of the 6 or 7 double-digit sack guys that the Eagles had. And how are you going to score on these guys? B? How are you going to score on the 49ers?
Cornerbacks.
I'll say this. You're going to score on them the way a few teams did, right? Like, the problem I have with this signing, he's a good player, and you look at their D-line, and you're like, oh, you got Bosa, you got Armstead, you got Hargrave now, and it looks scary. But they're not going to show up every week, right? And if you're not focusing on putting or getting the quarterback position right, you're going to end up the same place you've been every other year, which is just losing in the playoffs because you don't have a guy who can make those plays for you when you need him to make those plays for you. Because that guy ain't Brock Purdy. I'll tell you that. It's definitely not Brock. We don't know if it's Trey Lance or not. Trey Lance doesn't have any – he didn't have any kind of experience. I was going to say experience. He doesn't have any kind of experience before he came into the league. And those guys tend to not pan out, who don't have a lot of attempts coming in. And you just lost Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, for what he is. So that's great. You got Javon Hargrave. What are you going to do if you run into the Eagles again and they're scoring on you? You run into Pat Mahomes and they drop another 30 on you. Who are you going to look at on the other side? Christian McCaffrey's not going to play quarterback all game.
Right.
I know you tried it for a couple snaps, but that's not the way you're going to go. So, yeah, it's fine as long as you take care of the most important position.
He's going to turn Samuel Darnold into a Pro Bowler this year.
Who's that?
Sam Darnold.
And what team you used to play for?
Of the New York Jets.
You quick on your feet. I like it. Hendo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Once again, this is to my point of when teams want players, they'll find the money for him because he got damn near $100 million, and they're already paying people. They just paid Deebo Samuels last year. They took over Christian McCaffrey's contract. Like, if these owners want to pay for players, they'll get them. But to B's point, listen, you can do what you want to do. There are always weak points to teams because I think their secondary is the weak point of the team. When they played the Vegas Raiders last year with Jarrett Stidham, he put up 34, 38 points on them.
Yeah, 500 yards.
Coming off the bench. So in today's NFL, you can get the players, and as long as they play situational football well, it's fine. Before a season, these guys aren't stopping anybody. The rules aren't meant for them to stop people. So, but I mean, kudos to them. They got the guy that they wanted. They weakened the Eagles in the NFC. Let's go.
Jose?
Yeah, I hear the B and his point about the quarterback position. But it's the same point I made with Deshaun Watson, right? If you believe you got the guy, right, that's fine if it works out. But they invested multiple picks in him, right? They traded up to get him. I think they think highly of him. I think they do believe he's an upgrade from Jimmy G. And even though Brock Purdy had a nice run, I don't think they really think Brock Purdy's going to be the guy. So they, we'll find out. And if they didn't get it right with him, I think they're still in position to where, okay, he's not there yet. In next offseason, they can make a run for a quarterback because, what's cap space to them? They get everybody. Like you just said, they spent $100 million on this guy. They didn't get rid of anybody to make room for him. He's just there. And I think in the next offseason, if they still look for the quarterback, they'll do what they need to do to get a quarterback. So I had no problem with what they're doing here. I think they're a better team than they were last year now.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm with Jose. I mean, again, I like aggressive teams. Go out there and spend. I mean, defensively, maybe they felt like that was they had to shore up that line. We'll see how it pans out for them. I mean, I feel like in that offense, they feel like they can put anybody there and they look solid. You know what I mean? We seen Jimmy do his thing. We seen Brock, Brock wouldn't have got hurt. Brock would have been gone into this year probably the starting quarterback, right? So they made the world a believer in Brock. But I agree with you also, B. Down the stretch in the playoffs, when it's tight and you need somebody to make a play, do you have that guy behind under center right now? So I could see that being a question for them going into the season. But for some reason, man, I just think in that offense, we're going to see Darnold look like somebody we never thought he could be. So we'll see, man. But I'm not mad at the move. Like I said, I like aggressive franchises, man. Like they know they right there. So let's spend. We got some money. Let's spend.
I agree with you, Mike. I think if he has to play, Donald's going to look great for them. Because you saw once they got rid of Matt Rule and they got even a competent coach in there in Steve Wilkes, his level of play went way up. Now, I mean, he wasn't great still because he was starting down way low, but he played much better. But if I'm San Francisco, I'm calling up Baltimore and say, I'll trade you my quarterback problem for yours.
Right. And I actually had an argument with somebody on Twitter because I made the video, not on Twitter, on YouTube, on Morse to the Tally. I made the video about how Kyle Shanahan made it easy for Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. So he could make it just as easy for Sam Darnold. Because of the weapons. The weapons they got, the way his run scheme is designed, the way he build on top of plays. You may get a dive this first play. You may get that same dive action and throw it to the fullback in the flats. You may get that same dive action with a play action with a post curl combo. You may get that same dive action and it'll be a screen. He do all that. And he just build on top of plays, and that's what the good coaches do, rather than just, I'm going to run this. Okay, then this play don't look nothing like that, but I'm still going to run it. Then this third play looks nothing like the first two, but I'm still going to run it. So now when you do that, defenses can call out your plays based off your alignment. But you can't really do that with San Francisco. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I love the move. Anytime you can add somebody who could get that interior disruption on a quarterback, like that's a premium. And then you got, defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa, the MAGA king. You got him over there making quarterbacks' lives miserable. So, I love this signing. But like everybody else said, they got to get that QB right, because they spent a lot of money. They spent a hell of a lot of draft capital to get Trey Lance. Unfortunately, injuries, things haven't panned out for him. But I do like the Darnold signing as a backup, in case Lance, whatever, isn't healthy, just, looks like crap, whatever. But I do think they got to get their offensive line right, though. Because I think that's one of the constants that we see with a Shanahan offense is they have to have the O-line, right? But, yeah, I do like the signing.
And they lost McGlinchey today to Denver. That tackle.
Okay.
They probably helped him move. They probably packed his bag. Hey, bro, listen, you going where? It's on us. Don't you worry about it. We got you.
We
all right, call the Uber.
We got the movers in there. You need a ticket?
Right.
I bet you they can convince Orlando to move back to the right side.
Ooh, you're getting a little spicy there.
You know how hurtful that would be to me if he took his bag to go back to the right.
That's crazy. That's pretty insulting.
I'd be hurt.
Before we move on to our last topic, and I'm stealing this from you, Jose, completely. We want to get a word from our sponsors.
Take it.
And who is?
Ourselves.
Yes.
So what you need to do is we're starting. The super chats are not cut off, but they will be soon at the end of this month. So the way we're gonna do super chats going forward is a pinned comment. You click that pinned comment, you go over there and you put however much you want. You put your message, and I'll read it. And you saw that happen earlier today. And I also was able to kind of integrate the stuff where it comes on the screen once it happens. And so you'll see Lamar. Right now it's Lamar, doing the little thing and it's just whatever. And then I took something what Mikey did. I went and found Umar. The best nation is donation. And so when somebody donated, like when Suge donated earlier, let me see if I can pull it back up. Here it is. And you'll hear the sound. Donations. I don't know if you guys can hear, but they can hear it on that end. And so that's what you'll get. And then Patreon. B got his cup today. If you join the gunslinger level of Patreon, you'll get this chalice that says purple Kool-Aid and is not focusing right now because my cup's almost empty. But B got one too. Brandon has one, and so you join the gunslinger level of Patreon.
Not Brodney. B keeps looking like what? I got one.
I'm sorry,
like,
Brandon. My bad. I mean Brandon Bazel got his. I'm sorry. Brandon Bazel has his. But in order to do that, you have to be a patron. You have to be a patron. And the giveaways that I've been giving away at the end of each month for the loyalty rewards, you also have to be a patron for that. There are different tiers over there. Go, subscribe and do whatever you can. I'm not saying to do a certain level. Just do what you can do and help the channel grow. I appreciate all of it. All of it. And I think that's most of the housekeeping.
Listen, look, the Discord alone is worth it. The Discord alone is worth it. We are building a strong community amongst our channels, and all of us participate in everybody's Discord. So you'll see us, if you like hanging out with us, and we have deeper conversations. We talk about, different topics and whatnot. That part alone is worth the money. But I mean, that nice cup right there, that's just icing on the cake. All right.
And if you don't know, when I joined LBHT's Discord and Patreon, I got this thing right here. I don't know if it's available for everybody else.
That's out of print. That's no longer in print. Like those
collector's item.
Yeah, that's a collector's item.
Everybody
right there.
can't get this. It's exclusive.
This is the new one right here. You can get this one. That one right there. That's the founder's coin. Only a handful of people got that.
Now
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
But again, the Discord for everybody, they have fantasy football going in their Discord. So I ain't gonna add to another one because I can't keep up with that many myself. But
ours is cutthroat. You don't want any part of this anyway.
I'm coming for that, Hendo. Coming for that. And
you coming for this?
My belt.
Coming for this.
B, y'all got a set of cards, right? Talk to me about those cards.
Oh yeah, we have a custom deck of poker cards for our Ring Kings podcast, where we took our top 25 fighters of all time and kind of put them onto the cards, because we did a 5-part series on the channel. It was a lot of fun. It was like a 3-hour conversation. We had Suge was on there with us. Our guy Deshaun came on. So yeah, we decided to get some high quality cards printed up with just the pictures of all the boxers, and we've been sending those out to patrons.
Hey, Hendo, Brandon said you got your Green Lantern ring.
Tell Brandon don't hate, because he said he wasn't participating in this year's league, so don't hate, bro. Don't hate.
It is what it is. So
don't hate, participate.
Let me say this.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me say this real quick, Coach. So, for those of you that just need a little bit more of understanding or explaining, this is a movement to control what we can control, right?
Exactly.
So,
and it's all spurned by what happened to Ian Raven.
Yeah.
From my point of view, even though Jose and B was already on that, and they were encouraging me to move a certain way, and I heard them, but I just everybody don't like change.
Yeah.
But then when that jumped off with Ian Raven, I was like, I got to move a little different.
Yeah.
And
that's a perfect example. Look what happened to the homie Engraving.
That happens tons. That's happened to tons of YouTubers.
It happens too much, right? And this way is a way that you can support your favorite content creators, and they don't have to worry about those situations anymore. Yep. And they don't have to worry about the man taking a little bit more of a piece, right? So if you respect and you love your content creators, which we know you do, this way might take a little more effort out of you. But once you do it once or twice, you'll get used to doing it, and it'll just be as smooth as doing a super chat.
Yep,
there you go.
Appreciate
it. When you guys that donate that $20, say you want to hand Mikey 20, right? You say, look, Mikey, man, I was like, what you do, man? I want to give you $20, right? Cash money. And you hand it to me and say, hey, slide that over to Mikey real quick. And I give Mikey $12. Right? And Mikey says, thanks for the $12. Wait, hold on a second. I gave you 20. Yeah, well, Jose had to get his cut. Right? That's what you do into the super chat. The old super chat, because we got the new super chat over here. Okay. Where we get all the money.
It's like shooting dice at somebody else's house. They get cuts on 6 and 8. But you
get
cut 6, 8, 12, 2s, and 5s. And for those of you that don't understand that logic, let me break it down to you real quick. So if somebody provides you the space to shoot dice, you have to pay them. So every time somebody rolls a 6 or 8, they get a cut of that pot. That's what that means. So I just gave you a little hood knowledge. All right.
There you go.
Last topic of the day. Tremaine Edmunds. The Bears are making it rain. They have a ton of money to spend. They picked up Tremaine Edmunds. Another guy I'm glad to see go to the NFC. What you think about Tremaine Edmunds leaving, Hendo?
And I'm happy. Once again, if we can take any advantage for our offense by subtracting defensive players from other teams, I love it. But for me, it's a little bit odd, because now we're going to start, if the Bears make that transition, because listen, they're making a run. Listen, they got DJ Moore, they got a couple other pieces. If they make that transition,
DJ Moore, where he come from?
They traded for him.
Why are you doing that?
The University of Maryland.
Facts there.
It was all about unity 30 seconds ago.
So if they make that transition and start becoming winners, now we're going to start getting, look what Justin Fields has done compared to Lamar Jackson. So, because they're actually putting weapons around him to get better. But like I said, for the Bears, they're going out, and we've said this all night long. When you're a team and you see somebody that you want, go get them. I don't give a damn if you overdraft them, underdraft them, overpay for them, whatever. If you feel like he's going to help your team get better and he's going to move that needle for you winning, you go do it. And that's what the Bears are doing. What is it, Poles? What is his name, Poles? Whatever?
Something like that.
Yeah, like he knows what he wants and he's going after it. And in the first day of legal tampering, he done reinvented this whole team. So Ravens, take notice.
And they're doing it with their quarterback on a rookie deal.
How you supposed to do it?
How you supposed to do it? Yeah, exactly.
My quarterback. I don't
guys
think
don't
it's
understand-
funny, and it's the rest of you think seem to think it is.
It's
If you
not
don't get
funny.
the reference, the Panthers should have Justin Fields and DJ Moore. They were in position to draft Justin Fields, and they went with J.C. Horn
Horn.
instead. That's what he's talking about.
When he says my quarterback.
B, what you think?
I think that I should probably be a Bears fan. And I saw some people talking about, they paid Tremaine Edwards and he's not as good as Roquan, but they paid Tremaine Edwards and they paid TJ Edwards or Edmunds, Tremaine Edmunds and TJ Edwards, and they got the Ravens 2nd round pick. So overall, like, even if you think that Tremaine isn't as good as Roquan, they're in a much better position than Baltimore, just giving up that 2nd round pick and paying Roquan Smith. So I like what Chicago's doing. They brought in a guard as well. They traded for Chase Claypool. They traded for DJ Moore. They got themselves some extra draft capital to move down to 9, and where they can get probably the top tackle in the draft at 9. And I mean, I think they're being very aggressive. I think they're making the right moves. As far as Buffalo, I mean, I don't know how they're planning on replacing Tremaine. I know that they kept Matt Milano. I'm not sure if they re-signed Jordan Poyer.
They're trying.
I know that's been a big thing with their fan base. He's an excellent player. They have to keep him in Buffalo because again, this is what we always say, Jose and I, talking about defense. You have to have a lot of really good players to have a great defense, and you can't keep it very long. So once you go through a couple of seasons of having that top defense, it starts to fall apart, which is why you want to have your quarterback and build around your quarterback first and make sure that's what's leading the team. And for Buffalo, luckily they've got Josh Allen, and we'll see exactly what he's made of, I guess, coming up over the next couple of years.
Just to piggyback off of that, B, the Bills just restructured Allen and Von Miller, saving $32 million.
There you go. There you go. And look, to be fair, just to be clear, I believe that Buffalo is going to be able to withstand the loss of Tremaine Edmunds. They have a good coach. They have a good GM, and they are serious about building that team around Josh Allen, keeping him protected, making sure he's got weapons. So I'm sure they'll find their way forward. I'm just not sure what exactly it's going to be at this point.
Yeah, Milano will get whoever they put beside him right. Whoever they put beside him, Milano will get him right. Chris, what you think about it?
It's all right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I much rather have Roquan. Like, if I'm going to pay, if I can choose who I'd rather pay a little bit more for Roquan than Edmunds. Like, I don't think Edmunds is even near Roquan's level as a player. But hey, it's your money. Do whatever you want. You got him out of the Bills, out of our conference. So I'm fine with it. But I do like the move that they made to get DJ Moore. Like, I'm sorry, B, but that was a hell of a move. They played that in a fantastic way, and I like some of the moves that they're getting. Somebody mentioned they got a guard. I think that's what you got to do. You got to solidify the offensive line, make sure your young QB is upright and doesn't get his ass kicked every game, and then surround him with weapons.
He don't get his ass kicked, but he runs to the ass kicking.
But I mean, that he got to learn. And if you put a good line around him, it's better than having a bad line.
Yeah, true.
So and they getting the right kind of weapons because DJ Moore, he's not a guy that he has to win down the field. Like he could take a slant to the house. He could run. You could throw screens at him, and he'll be able to do the rest.
No, Chris, he does a lot of things.
Oh, and my
hey,
I thought you were talking about Josh Allen. I didn't know you were talking about Fields. I meant Josh Allen runs.
Oh,
no. Like a linebacker. But Fields does it the right way, I think.
No, I was talking about Fields, and I really like that dynamic that they have in that wide receiver room between him and Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, whatever. But those two other dudes, I really like that pairing.
And Cole Kmet too coming on.
Indeed.
Yeah, Cole
Forgot about
Kmet.
Cole
Yeah.
Kmet.
Yeah.
Definitely Cole Kmet. Mike?
Man, we again, I spoke on aggression all night. This team gets the platinum star for how aggressive they have been this offseason. Chris just talked on it, man, the trade and what they were able to pull out of that deal. You know, everybody was like, what? Like, you know what I mean? So I also agree with Chris on this, the move. It's a solid move, man, that the guy can play. But if you was gonna pay that type of money, you could have just kept Roquan. But I guess whatever. You got the dough. But what would bring this thing full circle is to see what they do in the draft. And I do think that they have one more major move left. I think this is a solid chance for Orlando Brown to land here. And if they can pull something like that, to Chris's point, they could solidify that line around Justin Fields. They won the offseason, in my opinion. But I like how aggressive they're being. Again, aggression is standing out to me now, even if it's just whack moves, because we're just not used to seeing anybody be aggressive here. And this is what we've been asking for over the last couple of years. Be aggressive during the draft. You had 75 draft picks last year, or whatever it was. We just asked you to put a couple together and move up, and you wasn't willing to do that. So I like how aggressive they're being. It's a good move. It doesn't hurt them. But he's going to be good. He's going to be solid for them. But I don't think they're done yet. So kudos to the Bears so far.
Jose?
Yeah, no, I agree. They're definitely not done. They got all the cap in the world, right? And I agree with Chris and Mikey. I I don't wish. I mean, we got Roquan. I'm glad we have Roquan. But yeah, I would have re-signed him. I feel like maybe it got to the point because there was a moment there where Roquan wasn't happy with the negotiations. I feel like maybe Roquan just said, "Look, I just don't want to be here," right? Because what they paid Edmunds and what Roquan got, I mean, yeah, that's easy to pay, right? But hey, it is what it is. That's the one thing that we benefited from, I guess. But yeah, teams like the Bears, we mentioned the Bills, we mentioned Miami earlier. They're showing you how to get it done. When we talk about this narrative of you got to build around quarterbacks on their rookie deals, that's how you do it, right? That ain't the only way to do it because Kansas City just won a Super Bowl, the Rams just won a Super Bowl, and they ain't got no quarterbacks on rookie deals, so that ain't the only way to do it either. But if you're going with this narrative about not paying quarterbacks, well, you have to go do the other part and pay the other positions. It's not pay nobody. You got to pay somebody. You got to pay for talent. So I like the aggression from the Bears. I honestly thought they were about to go the opposite way. I thought they was going to mess this whole thing up. But yeah, credit to Ryan Poles, man. Like he's making some solid moves here.
Hendo, did I get you with the Bears?
Yes, sir.
And B, I got you also. So with that being said, hashtag no 2 hours. Let's run these outros. I appreciate everybody for coming through. But Hendo, tell people where they can find your stuff.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @RGatekeepers. You can also find me on YouTube at Ravens Online on Gatekeepers, where I do a show on Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. called Hanging with Hendo, which Coach Evans shall be on this Saturday. Hopefully, Chris will be there as well, and Mikey.
Yes, I'll be there.
So this is your formal invitation for this Saturday. Also, you can find me doing a live stream on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. You can find it in audio form where you get all of your audio podcasts. Also, if you could, sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/ROUG. Get a chance to battle against all of us in the fantasy football for this ring. For this ring and the belt.
My belt.
No, this is the Pick'ems. This is the Pick'ems League Championship here. The belt is for the fantasy football. So you can get the opportunity to come in and go against us and win them. We also give away prizes. You also can request certain videos, certain live streams. It's a ton of stuff going on. But once again, the Discord, I think, is the biggest benefit of all this because you can hang out with us. It's always somebody in there 24/7 talking about something, and it's not just sports. So it's a community here. Like, come join it. Come join all of the Patreons. And just hang out with us. And I appreciate y'all.
Chris?
You catch me on Twitter at Chris Just Joking. You could also catch me on the Deep Cover Pod, and also check out the Deep Cover Pod YouTube channel. I put up a breakdown of the 2023 wide receiver prospects, so check that out.
Appreciate you, Mikey.
I quickly, I was trying to find the guy who shouted us out. He made one of our questions his topic of
on
the
his
show.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
he was in here earlier.
Okay.
Oh, you talking about my man, Flock Nation?
Flock Nation,
You talking about DJ?
Yeah. So shout out to him, man. That's showing some love to us.
Salute.
on his podcast. But yeah, man, I am OTR Mike. Follow me on Twitter at OTR_Mike. Listen. I do not have any new episodes.
That's going to change this week. That's
for
going
my
to change.
man Brandon Bazel. Look, B, I appreciate you because you keep hitting me like, man, where you at? So I appreciate it. Life be lifing. You know, I said it in the chat. I think on what was it? It might have been hanging with him though. I said it in the chat. I'm in a content creator funk, but I'll get out of that. I promise you an episode next week. I promise there'll be content coming going forward. Promise you that. So in the meantime though, go over to the channel, open mic with OTR Mike, subscribe, watch some of the videos I got there, hit the like button, hit the bell, do all of that stuff right now, and I promise you there's more stuff to come over there.
I've been there twice. So if you haven't watched those 2 episodes, go do so. You're going to see the great, charismatic me, and you also see the borderline psycho me.
you gonna see listen, I start the show right by saying this is the show where the mic is on for any discussion, no matter what it is, who it is, or where it is. And my idea is to get a different side of these fellas and everybody else outside of just talking sports, right? So you gonna see the gangster side of Coach, and then you gonna see the regular sophisticated side of Coach. So go over there and check it out.
Coach came in like, hey, cuz. You be talking about that, all that buster talk up in here. We don't do that around here, cuz. Not today.
You roll for the head, though. It's all y'all, man.
Yes, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live stream every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the Overtime Show, which you can find on our Patreon at patreon.com/LBHT Show. Also, myself, Rodney, and Mr. OTR Mike do a boxing podcast, which is Ring Kings Podcast. Look, we slacked a little bit here and there. Okay, we promised you guys we're going to do more live streams. We didn't do one after the Tony Harrison fight, Tony Harrison and Tim Tszyu, but a new episode is coming along with Open Mic with OTR Mike. We had a little team huddle. Okay, we're gonna rectify some things. Okay, make sure that we give you guys the content that you need. Okay, but episode is dropping. We have one reviewing the Ali movie. I don't know if you guys remember the Will Smith Ali movie. We did a review of that. Also, we put out the full Ring Kings top 10 pound for pound list. There's 2 parts. They're both out right now, so check them out. Find out who's number 1 and who's not number 2. Okay. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at LBHT Show and at Ring Kings Pod.
Ring Kings Podcast crew. I don't know what you got going on late Saturday night, but my guy is back in the ring this week. So I don't know if you guys got anything scheduled or whatnot, but hey, after the fight, find them. If they own, great content. If they not, it'll be within a day or two where they talk about.
It's an early fight. It's an early fight too.
Because it's in London, sure is.
Yeah, we'll be streaming that'll be on Lunch Break Hot Take. That's where we talk UFC. But we'll definitely be streaming for Kamaru getting his belt back.
Yeah, I guess I should also mention that too. Lunch Break Hot Take, we discuss football, basketball, UFC. So you're gonna see more. If you're an NBA fan, we'll give you some more NBA content over there as well.
Gotcha. And tell them where they can hit you on the Patreon too.
Patreon.com/LBHT shows. We can find us.
And they got the website lbhtshow.com with everybody's recent episodes up.
Yep, in audio form, and pretty soon we'll get all the whole schedule, the whole list. You can click on the links, you'll be able to go to everybody's stuff.
There it is, one-stop shopping like Wally World.
I just want to say, and B renewed my contract so I can still be on the shows with everybody. So we had a slight contract dispute.
Did you get guaranteed money?
I got guaranteed money, so that's what I was
at signing.
I don't know. I don't know about all that. Like I said, I hit you in the text. We still got to discuss Mr. Pierce and his role in all this.
Oh no.
We're not even gonna do that. We're not gonna
do
that.
Or Mr. Henry. I mean, I don't care which.
Coach, go ahead, end the show. Coach.
And this ain't got nothing to do with you.
It does, because I'm gonna get Mr. Henry.
Speaking of discussion, and I know we just hit the 2-hour mark, but somebody on this panel had my dog number 12 in the all-time rappers, and I'm still PO'd about that.
And it wasn't me, because I had him number 1.
Still PO'd about that. Well, I'm gonna give y'all my top 4, and you may not like it, but screw it, it's my top 4. And if you're watching this later, don't put it in the comment section. I mean, don't put it in the chat box. Put it in the comment section. That way I can see it, because the chat box, I probably ain't gonna see all that when I rewatch this or whatnot. Put it in the comment section. Number 1 for me, Tupac. Number 2 for me, Biggie. Number 3 for me, Hove. Number 4 for me, Weezy. Then my 5 fluctuates, so that's why I always give a top 4.
Okay.
My 5. Sometimes it be Dre, sometimes it be Eminem, sometimes, but it's 2 guys that people always wonder why they're not in my top 5. And these 2 guys, they're lyricists, but I don't really mess with them like that. I'm not really a fan of them, and that's Nas and Kendrick. Not saying their music sucks, but it don't radiate for me what they're. It's just not for me.
You're a Nas hater like him.
Hey coach, I was just told to tell. Okay, I was just told to tell you that it wasn't that person's list. This is what the people voted on. So it wasn't like.
No, the hell it wasn't.
It was the people.
And you know what?
I
believe that for a minute.
I'm sorry,
but because of your episode Saturday, I believe somebody else had more influence.
You think I had that influence?
No, I didn't say it. Somebody. All
right. So listen, if y'all want to know what we talking about, I also do a show called Electric Relaxation with Mr. Galloway. So every Friday at 6 p.m. Make sure you check it out. We just did the top 30 greatest MCs of all time. This Friday, though, coming up, we will be going live and revealing the final top 10. So if any of you gentlemen want to participate and come on, you can come see that top 10 live. Don't blame us. The people voted for that.
How many people voted for that? 6?
No, it was like 20-something people.
Well,
but a lot of it was Dre's friends, Mr. Galloway's friends, and his children's friends. So a lot of them were really young. So you got a lot of
I know so damn well Uzi or none of them cats better not be in this top 10. Uzi, Yachty,
any of the babies.
Right.
No children.
They got to be represented. All I'm saying.
No, they don't.
Listen,
there's a saying in my family that you're not really grown till you're 25.
Facts.
So they ain't 25, so they don't need to be represented.
You can't run a car until you're 25.
We speak for them.
Okay. But I'm going to just let y'all know, a lot of them young people did not vote for Nas. I voted for Nas. And a lot of them did not. So your man might not even be on the list.
Well, I don't like Nas.
That's why I knew he connected.
The thing, he from my hometown. His dad's from my hometown.
That's why I knew he
Hendo don't like anybody from Queens. Ask him who his favorite rapper from Queens is.
I like all the rappers from Queens.
Who your favorite rapper from Queens is?
They're straight up lying.
All of them but Nas.
Lying.
I ain't got nothing against Queens.
And Mobb Deep and Nori.
I love Mobb Deep.
Nicki Minaj.
That ain't what you said all there.
That's not what I said. What did I say? I didn't say that about Mobb Deep. I love Mobb Deep.
I said, do you like Mobb Deep? Like,
I was like, yeah. But no, it was no. So
He said his favorite song is "The Bridge Is Over."
I did not say that.
Chris, I hate you have to be subject to this.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. I don't.
Hey, Chris.
I don't care. I don't like Queen, so it don't matter to me.
I know, Chris, but listen, don't listen to that because I've been a Mobb Deep fan since "Hit It From the Back," and most of y'all don't even know what that song is. That was Mobb Deep's first song before they got hard when they was little kids.
When they was 12.
Right, when they was little kids. Right. People don't know all that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Don't be trying to listen. Queen's is cool with me.
Hey,
I just don't like Nas.
let me close out on because I hadn't done my stuff yet. So obviously you can find me here at Sip the Talent Films, but also you can find me at more Sip the Talent. On that channel, we're for the streets.
Streets.
We are for the streets. 31 flavors, come get you some over there. But the
Go
thing
ahead.
is, with that channel, we're doing a lot of draft content right now. And on the main channel, the channel you're here at now, you're getting a lot of receivers and a lot of DBs because I think that's what the Ravens need the most. But that other channel is getting everything else. Like I did a video today on Paris Johnson Jr. And I also did a video on DeJuan Jones, who's the other tackle. Those are both tackles for Ohio State. The DeJuan Jones video come out sometime tomorrow. But Jose can tell you this, and others can tell you that I've started to watch the raw video of those guys on Patreon, and we're starting to get more and more people in there watching it with me, and we just talk about what we see. That's where we discovered Mr. Charlie. We discovered Charlie Jones, the receiver from Purdue.
Yeah.
And we ended up realizing that he's a 100-plus catch guy. He was at the combine, and he's what's the Raiders slot receiver we talked about earlier?
Renfro.
He's Renfro-like. He's Renfro-like, and he honestly was giving Joey Porter the business. He just don't have the speed to get away from Joey Porter. But contested catches, he was catching. Running routes, when Porter wasn't on him, Jones was eating. So that's what we discovered, man. If you want to be a part of that when we watch those videos live, make sure you join the Patreon, and then I put that link on patreon.com, and then you guys come in and watch those videos. What's wrong, Hendo? You straight?
Nah, some YouTubers just came on my TV.
Just checking. You had that look.
Racist. Yeah,
You
I've
had
seen
that
that.
look in your eye.
I've seen their faces, and I just, I saw
Triple
red.
OG, triple OG.
Thought somebody from Queens was about to run up on it.
Wow.
But again, you can find me on Twitter at Coach Evans 9, TikTok at Sip the Talent Films, IG at Sip the Talent Films, and that's it for this week's show, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. And again, subscribe to everybody. Everybody's information is in the description. Patreon for everybody. That Patreon gets you into the Discord. And when you're in the Discord, you hanging out with us all the time. All the time. Because the Discord is always popping. And if it ain't popping, Brandon Bizet is going to get it popping.
Most definitely.
He's going to get it popping. Brandon's going to get it popping. So I appreciate B for all he do for everybody's channel. And, everybody should strive to be like Brandon.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Be like Brandon.
Absolutely.
He is a supporter
Of all of us.
of everybody. He supports he'll go from one Discord to the next.
Yep.
Just talking to people, just keeping it live. Like, I appreciate Brandon.
He's the guy. All right.
Yeah.
And on that note, we out. Peace.
Hate if you want.